Without villains, there's no need for heroes. Have you ever thought of that? Villains and heroes have been around us for a long, long time. Western TV shows back many years ago always portrayed the villain with a black hat. Yeah, you could always tell the villain coming down the hot road riding his horse. All the townspeople would run back into their business and their homes and hide because the villain had a black hat on. The hero always wore a white hat. People would all come out of their homes and rush out in the streets and welcome the hero because he had a white hat on. Those were good old days when you could tell a hero from a villain. My story begins like this. A long time ago, just to create a starting point. All races have a starting point. You can't have a race without a starting point, right? And everybody has to line up on that starting point. So, our story begins from the Bible. Now, how do you get back any further than that? The first book in the Bible. The very first book. And it's talking about the first man and woman on this earth. Now, how can you start any earlier than that? Let's call this man and woman by a proper name. Man and woman. That sounds good, because that's what they were. Man and woman. They didn't wear any hats. They didn't have any black hats. They didn't have any white hats, because they were neutral. Since work had not been invented, they didn't have to do any work. And names had not been created. Man and woman. So ancestry DNA had not been created for TV yet. And since they had no offspring, there was no reason for DNA or ancestry. So man and woman found themselves in this beautiful garden. Can you imagine waking up in a beautiful garden? No work to do. You women, you could sleep till noon. But there was no time. Time did not exist. So you didn't know when you were going to wake up, whether it was noon or 8, or you could sleep until 4 in the afternoon. You could stay up all night. You could party all night. But there was no partying, because partying hadn't been created. Okay? Everybody was equal. In other words, men and women were equal. Totally equal. Now, a lot of you women probably would really love that one. You don't need equal rights because you were equal with man. All things were the same. Okay? They could wander through their garden. It was beautiful. They would pick a berry here, and they'd pick a berry there. They could stop if they wanted, but nothing was beautiful. Nothing was ugly. There was no death, because everything was been created for them. No work, no bills to pay, no yard to keep, no rush hour traffic, because there was no work. And no rush, and how could you worry about rush hour traffic when you were the only man and woman on the earth? This was really the good old days. Okay, let's jump ahead just a little bit. Now you're thinking, why can't we get back to the good old days? Sounds pretty good, right? But there's always a catch, and some of you won't like this, especially you men. Okay? There was no sex. Yes, no sex. Man and woman enjoyed their time in this world. No clothes were needed, unlike the TV show Naked and Dangerous. But you women might not have liked this because there was no shopping, no makeup, and no other men to look at you. In fact, there would never be any other man to look at you. Man and woman's life was like being all alone on a deserted island with the woman never having to say no. I don't feel good today. Because they were equal. But everything was free. This was good. Or was it? No beer or wine. No death or birth. No ham for Christmas dinner because there was no Christmas. And no ham because there was no dead pigs. Because pigs could not die. In fact, there was no holiday. Not even Mother's Day. Because nothing ever happened in their free world of doing nothing except eating berries. Okay? No prime ribs. Oh, can you imagine going through life without a prime rib? I'm getting to believe free is not so good. Because to have free, you have to give up other things you have learned to love. In man and woman's case, they would live forever with no children, no TV, no sister wives. Well, maybe government broadcasted TV, somebody might have came up with that, but probably not because there was nobody to vote except man and woman. So there was no politicians to try to get their vote. Okay? And remember, there were no bad guys. And there were no good guys. Or women, either way case. Because good and evil had not been created. Everything was equal. Okay? Anyway, things changed a little, didn't it? But wait, it doesn't have to be this way. Where did this guy come from? You were thinking that man and woman were alone on this island, and out of nowhere, here comes this guy. He kind of looked like man. Woman thought to herself, he is even a little cute. But who is he? Now, woman, here's this man speaking. Hey, woman, come here. Now, see, guy knew about bad and good. But at this point, he didn't understand that man and woman did not understand about good and bad. So I'm going to leave this black hat on for a while because we're going to talk about Guy. Woman looked around. She was astonished. Guy, who are you? Hey, woman. Ooh. Chills went up the woman's back. She had never quite felt this way before. Man had never talked to her like this. Hey, woman, come over here and talk to me for a minute. She did not notice that he had a black hat on. The voice came again. Woman, didn't you hear me? An emotion that woman had never felt before entered her heart. But the sweet compliment she heard next relaxed her some. Woman, you look so nice in your new suit. Woman looked down at herself and wondered what this guy meant. This was the same beautiful body she had always had. I have something for you, came the voice from Guy, and it is free. Free, yes, free. All you have to do is eat this sweet and sour peach. It is sweet and good for you. And it costs you nothing because it's free. Well, woman, she had to think about this for a minute. Because somewhere back, quite a while ago, when she found herself in the garden with man, her father, which had placed her here, says, everything is free, but, see that tree over there, man and woman? Yeah, I see a tree. See that one tree? See all these trees? Yeah, I see all these trees. They're everywhere. They're beautiful. But do you see that one tree? Yeah? Yeah, that one tree right over there. It's got that fence around it. Yeah? You can't have any fruit of that tree. Why can't we have fruit of that tree? Because it's freer than all the rest of it. How can free be freer? Well, that's the reason I got the fence around it. Because, yes, we need the white hat on. Because Father was a good guy. He knew what he was doing. Because I don't want you to eat any of that fruit of that tree right over there. And I put the fence around it so you can't reach over and grab it. But why can't we have the fruit of that tree? Just because I said so. You said I can't have fruit of that tree? Yeah, that's what I said to you, woman. Woman, don't you understand? I said you can't eat of that fruit. Now, man, he was off in the far corner of the garden. He didn't hear this conversation. But, so, he came wandering by, and woman says, hey, man, see that tree right there? Man says, yeah. Woman says, our Father that created us and put us here says we can't have any of that fruit. The man says, why not? Well, he just says it wasn't, we shouldn't do it. Well, then we are not going to do it. This is all free. This is great. We don't want to give up all this. So we're going to obey Father. But I see this fence around it. Man said, yeah. Woman says, that's to keep us from crossing over and getting the fruit of that tree. Well, then that's a good idea, man says. I think we will obey. That's what we said we would do. We would obey when we came to this big old ball sitting out here in the universe with this beautiful garden. But woman didn't like that too much. Because Guy had already talked to her. And Guy had said, wow, woman, if you ate some of that fruit over there, your life would be great, a lot better than it is today. Well, how much better could it be, woman said, when everything's free? Just trust me. Trust me. I know what I'm talking about. Everything will be so much better when you go and crawl over that fence. In fact, I'll even help you. Let me go. I can crawl over that fence easier than you can because you don't want to scratch that beautiful body. But of course, there's no scratches in this life. There's no bad. There's no sickness. There's no pain. So I'll just do it for you. I will create something freer for you than you already have. Woman thought about this, and she thought, this guy might not be such a bad guy after all, even though he wears a black hat. So anyway, guy goes and crosses the fence, picks a sweet and sour peach, crawls back across the fence, says, "Hey, woman, try this out. This is pretty good." Woman looked at it. She thought, The words kept ringing in her ears. Do not eat the fruit of that tree. But she did have a choice, because she had been given the choice to choose between good or evil. So, here's a guy now. But woman, here, try some of this. This is really some good fruit. Take my word for it. It's free. Why would I give you anything that wasn't free and wasn't good for you? Well, thought woman, probably right. Because see, at this point, all she was going on was, do not eat the fruit of that tree that her father had commanded her not to. So she still was wavering back and forth. Okay, I'm going to take some of that fruit. That looks good. So she bit into the fruit. Ooh, ah, ooh, ah. Should get the black cat off, huh? Because she wasn't bad at that time. She was still good. But her white hat was slowly turning gray. And all at once, the woman looked down at herself, and her body was skin was starting to get shriveled. Her fingernails started splitting. Oh no, what had she done? She wasn't sure. But she wasn't going to go through this all by herself. So she ran off and got Man. Hey, Man. Hey, come here, Man. Man wondered what woman was saying. She had never talked to her this way before. To him. Hey, Man, come here. Woman, why are you talking to me this way? Because I got something I'm going to show you. And it's even free. It's really free. Well, how can you have more than free? I don't know, but this is sure free. Woman, that looks like the sweet and sour peach that's on that tree over there. It is. So how'd you get it? Well, this guy came along. He talked sweet to me. And he crawled over the fence and got it, came over and had it to me. But you're not supposed to eat that fruit. All this other fruit we have. We have all these fruits. And you had to cross the fence. No, I didn't cross the fence, Eve says. Guy crossed the fence. So does that make it any righter? Because Guy crossed the fence, which you were commanded not to partake of, and got you the fruit, you still partook of the fruit. That was the commandment, not crossing the fence, but eating the fruit. Oh, but it looks so beautiful. Everything's beautiful. And how bad can it really be? Woman, what are you saying? I don't know what I'm saying. Woman said, Man? Well, Man realized that he'd been had. Because they'd been told when they were put in the garden that if they did eat of that fruit, they would be kicked out of the garden. Okay? Second of all, they would begin to feel pain and sorrow, and your fingernails would split, but you would also be able to have children. And think of that. Children. You could have whole bunches of people under you. Children everywhere would be yours from now and until eternity. And that is a long time. Okay, woman, I see maybe that you're right. I'm going to go along with you. I don't feel like this is what I'm supposed to be doing, but I'm going to go along with you. Okay, give me that fruit. Whew. Remember, they were both good and bad because they knew no evil, because they knew no good. They did not know right from wrong except one commandment that had been given them. Do not partake of that fruit on that tree over there that had the fence around it. Okay? I didn't provide a gate, just no fence. Just don't crawl over that fence. So, man and woman had now taken on mortality. They were able to have offspring. They were able to, in other words, they were able to have children. They were able to make decisions. But along with decisions came work. They found out real fast that work was a good thing. Woman found out she couldn't sleep in until 10 o'clock in the morning, while man went out the door and worked. She found out she had to get up and work also, because man and woman worked side by side because they were equal. Still at this time, they were equal. So anyway, next thing we know here, Eve started getting a little pouch on the front of her. Man and woman had been messing around a little bit, exploring these new bodies that they'd received. Before, they didn't know there was a difference between the two. But now they found out differences. Not only did their physical body look different, their emotional thoughts were different. Woman, she had these emotional points in life. She would cry for no reason. She would get mad for no reason. She didn't have a reason to get upset with man, because woman had taken on mortality, and nothing was free anymore. They had to work for it. And death had entered the picture. So their bodies were getting old. And the fruits would die on the branches. And if they had not stored enough fruit, then they would not have anything to eat during the cold winter months. And death had entered the picture. And so they also found they have to have clothing, because they couldn't run around all winter with no clothes on. Okay? Second of all, this little bump that was on woman's belly starting got bigger. She went, I think I'm going to reproduce one of us. And I've definitely got to cover my body. I don't want this little infant to see me, my skin all shrivel up. So they had to kill an animal. Okay? Whether they used a gun or a club or a hammer or a stick of dynamite, it made no difference. They were all used to kill an animal which was a good thing because animals provided skins for their clothing. Animals provided food for the table. Their bodies needed other nutrition other than just berries. And even the berries were getting tired. They were getting tired of eating just berries. A nice steak sure tasted good. Well, man and woman have now been kicked out of their beautiful garden. They have come to find out that there's heroes and there's villains, kind of like Guy. And every one of us have a little bit of villain and a little bit of hero in us. Its decision is, which one should we choose? Do you want to be the good guy riding into town and all the townspeople come out because you're the good guy? You are the man that wears the white hat. You are here to help all of us. Or you could be the guy riding into town with the black hat on. And you would run and hide behind the doors and look out, peek out the windows, pull the curtains back just enough to see the bad guy with the black hat riding into town. Yes, evil villains had entered the streets of the world. Next time we're going to talk a little more about villains and heroes and Guy and free and not so free, and what free really has to offer. Is free really free? And to have free, what do you have to give up? Anyway, next week I'll come back and we're going to talk about these items. We're going to talk about all these subjects. And over the next many weeks and months and maybe even years, we'll talk about these things, how our government gets involved with free, but the complications you end up paying for these free things, and where does free really come from? Anyway, until next week, I'm Steve Allen. Hope you enjoyed what we talked about today. And you'll tune in next week when, without villains, there is no need for heroes. I'm done for the day. Hope each and every one of you has a beautiful, beautiful week. And don't get caught in that rush hour. So until next week, I'll be gone. See you each and every one of you. Have a good day. Bye.